Hello, everyone. My name is Zane. My heart is so big it is the size of a kingdom. And welcome to the Useless Podcast. Today on the Useless Podcast, I have a very special guest. He is a popular TikToker. I know you stream on Twitch as well, here and there. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome SassySora.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
Fan-freaking-tastic. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much for asking. Okay, so like I said before we started recording, I'm just going to go ahead and list off a few questions here I have for you, and you can just answer them, as to your heart's content.
Of course. Of course.
I'm going to try and not put in as much Kingdom Hearts puns as I possibly can, but I know this is probably going to be a good majority of what the interview is, so...
Can't guarantee for myself, however.
You do, like you do whatever you gotta do. So...
Exactly.
So, first off, I gotta get the big main question out of the way. Sora and Smash Brothers. Your thoughts?
Oh my goodness. It was like a dream come true. I literally cried.
Really?
Yeah, and then I woke up the next morning, okay, so nothing happened, right? I look up I see amounts of Twitter feeds, TikToks, you name it, and oh wow, this is real.
So
holy crap!
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
You're good. You're
sorry,
good. So would you say that Sora was probably your number one character then? Your number one requested character?
Of course. It really much was back when they started doing the voting. When they started pointing out the ballots, the ballots. And of course, I put down Sora as much as I possibly can.
So it wasn't even just a thing where it was only for Ultimate. You've had this character requested for a long time then.
Very much likely, and I'm aware there are mods out there for it too, and not as good as the original.
Right, it's not the same, right? Okay, well, then I'll just move right along to our next question, kind of speaking of Kingdom Hearts. Because I know you're probably a big fan of Kingdom Hearts, I would assume.
As it's not obvious?
Right. So then when exactly did you start getting into Kingdom Hearts then? What would have been your first game and your first experience?
Well, I love telling this story.
Oh, so go right on ahead.
So it started out when it first came out in America, and I fell in love with this. But I remember watching a few trailers back in the day, and of course I kept forgetting the name of the title of the game. And then one day I saw the commercial pop up again. Okay, you can't forget this time. Okay, when the name comes out, we're going straight to Kmart. And so it did. And I'm as soon as it came out, the title popped up, I was like, Mom, we're going to Kmart!
We're going to grab that game! We're going to grab the game! So is it just kind of known as that one anime game with Disney characters and stuff in it for a while until you kind of got the name?
It's been in my mind for quite a while, especially, there was one time I was invited to go to E3 with my family, and one of my cousins happened to be working for a magazine, and it popped up there. I had no idea what it was, but I was so fanatic about. I'm a Disney fanatic ever since I was a kid.
Right. So
and
that's
what really caught my eye. Yeah. And plus, what really got my attention the most is actually the cast for the voices, and I'm like, oh, okay.
I didn't know who they were first. Or...
Yeah, voice actors themselves. Because I remember, there was an article one time that they were discussing who's in this game. The Haley Joel Osment, David Gallagher. I'm I knew David Gallagher for sure, and I knew Haley Joel Osment for sure. But I never paid close attention which characters they portrayed as until finally I beat the game, and I'm oh. David Gallagher's Riku. And then Leon, I wasn't disappointed, but I was discouraged that I always thought it was Ashton Kutcher who voiced Leon in the game, of course.
Right.
And I'm he sounded like Ashton Kutcher, but he's not Ashton Kutcher, but okay. But
Right.
with that
Like,
aside, I mean, whenever Kingdom Hearts first came out, I became in love with it.
just
I mean, not in love
immediately.
with it, but I loved it,
Like, it was like
and I
it
still
was
do
an
today.
immediate thing.
Yeah, actually, it
So
really
then,
was.
obviously you've played like all of them, right?
Ever since they ever released, that was like as soon as they come out, I like go to GameStop, go to Walmart, Kmart, any store that actually sells any games. I like go straight for it, buy it, and play it.
Are you like one of the
Then
first in lines in the store then? Like one of those people who hang out outside, wait for it to release, and then like go inside immediately?
nah, I just go in the store and just show up and like, hey, can I get a Kingdom Hearts? Like, here you go. I never waited in line because I know never had that intention to do that until like probably in the late probably 2010s when they started
Ah,
doing like those game console launches.
right.
I learned my lesson on that one though. That's the side of the story.
Well, what's the lesson there? If
With
you don't mind me asking.
never buy consoles at launch because you never know if you're getting disappointed by all the kinks and glitches and all that stuff.
That is true. I will never to this day forget the Nintendo Switch, console launch. There's this YouTube video I hark back to where it was like showing all the Nintendo Switch problems and whatnot, where it was just like
Hmm.
it would die immediately on people or it'd just make this really loud noise or something like that. So it's like,
Oof.
yeah, I completely get it.
Yeah, I remember I actually waited to get a Switch like probably like a year and a half later after its launch, and I've been hearing a lot of bad stuff about the Switch. I'm like, I'm still skeptical on it, but I really, really want to play Smash Brothers, so I went over and got it.
Ah, so then you have a Switch then.
Yes, I do actually.
So then, harken back to the Kingdom Hearts thing. So then, obviously, again, you've played them all, probably. So
Of course,
then,
and including the VCast one. God forbid,
God forbid.
never played the VCast version. I mean, especially to this day, it was at its prime, but looking back at it now, it was dookie.
Definitely not like the top one then.
No, just avoid it. Like the Green Lantern movie with whatchamacallit, Ryan
Uh,
Reynolds. Yeah.
okay, I'll avoid those then. So then, what would you say is like your number one Kingdom Hearts game then? What would you say is like at the top of your list?
Oh man, that's a good question. I mean, I like them all. I
Right.
really do. But okay. I'm gonna have to say the first one because that's the one that got me interested in the whole entire series.
That's understandable. That's probably what sparked a lot of fans. Is the first game on like the PS2.
Mm.
I remember that was what my first game. That was my first game was too, and I'll admit I haven't gotten around to playing most of the other Kingdom Hearts games. I played Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, played a little bit
Mm.
of Dream Drop. Haven't gotten around to playing 3 yet, but Kingdom Hearts 1 was probably my first one because again it was just known as that one game with all the Disney characters in it, and then as it is to probably most fans, and then it was just yeah, and then I'd probably agree with you there that the first one's probably the better out of all of them. It's just like nothing can top the original, right?
I mean, in my perspective, that's what I think. But it's in another perspective, it's very debatable.
Right. Like if we ask probably another person who's just into Kingdom Hearts as you would
Like
be.
if you would ask a random or average Kingdom Hearts fan in the community, they probably would say Kingdom Hearts 2, which I keep hearing that a lot, that Kingdom Hearts 2 is the best one. Which is, I understand, it's very fluid, it's very exciting and very adventurous, I suppose, more than one. I mean, it's a sequel. It's supposed
Right.
to be more vivid, more exciting than the first one. And of course, they did a lot of work on that one too. So I can see why it could be a lot of people's favorites.
I also kind of feel like the with having all like Cloud and Sephiroth and having all the Final Fantasy characters
Of
game
course.
that probably definitely helped spark its popularity as well.
Oh, it did. It definitely did. Especially
Uh,
when you get to fight against Sephiroth.
yeah, that's always the thing that gets brought up too is I remember how hard the fight was with Sephiroth and all that stuff.
Oof. I still couldn't beat that guy. In 2, I could. He was way much easier than he was in Kingdom Hearts 1. But that's just me.
I think no, I think you're right. I think they probably saw how tough they made him in Kingdom Hearts 1 and was just like, how about we slow down a little bit and make him at least
reaction
somewhat
commands now while we're at it.
Yeah, let's
make it easier for the beginners.
Yeah, let's make it easier for people to actually play this game. Oh, God. So then, obviously, again, with you being into Kingdom Hearts, would you say that Sora is probably your favorite character out of all the characters?
As it's not obvious, yes.
So then, what makes Sora probably your number one then?
I don't know. Just something about him just makes me smile a lot. Like I always, because every time well, most likely when I play as him, or if I just watch the cutscenes, and I mean by game wise,
right.
And I don't know. It's just, I'm just kind of comfortable with him. It just every time I just see that guy, it just makes me smile, and everything he just says about friendship and all that stuff. I'm like, I mean, he's corny as hell, but like, damn, he's touching my heart like that.
It gives off a good vibe, right?
Exactly.
Well then. Okay, so kind of harken back to kind of stepping away from Kingdom Hearts and kind of going off of like you. Like I said earlier, I know that you have like, you know, your TikTok and stuff like that. And okay, before, do you maybe want to give like a brief summary of what you do for people who may not know like the kind of content you make and whatnot? Maybe kind of plug yourself a little bit.
Sure. Well, for starters, my name is Sammy Anderson, and I'm a voice actor part-time. I do a lot of voice dubs for minor projects, fan dubs, and other projects I'm probably not supposed to talk about.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
That makes sense, though.
I love it. In a way. It
In a way.
But I do love it. It's pretty fun.
So then, what kind of got you into making the kind of content you do on TikTok? Like the whole, you know, Sora voice actor and stuff like that. Like, what kind of got you into doing that?
Well, what really got me into doing it is, I believe, well, this is another story. So, I was already into voice acting when I assume I turned 18. And at first, when I first started, I didn't always do the Sora impression, although that's how I naturally sounded like at the time. I can still do it naturally, but it's not my
it's not the number one.
It's not my basic or base voice, or I'm not sure if I'm explaining this right, but that's not how I sound
I get
now.
It. Yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah, now I'm kind of forcing it. But when I started, wow, this is really going back. When I first started, I did a lot of other, most likely child voices and a bunch of other stuff.
Like you portrayed children voice actors? Like you portrayed...
Pretty much at the time, yeah. Like, I always portray child voices. And as further going on, someone came up to me and told me I sound like Sora. I'm like, well, lucky for you, I sound like that dude naturally at the time. Because even back in... I'm sorry for going back even further.
You're good. Go ahead.
I believe... I can't remember if it was 2007 or 2008, but it was already after the fact Kingdom Hearts 2 came out. And this was, like, at the time when the Dark Knight was the thing.
Right.
Everybody's fanatic about Dark Knight movie coming out. And I went to my first anime convention, and there was a Q&A panel for Kingdom Hearts, but it was like a cosplay Q&A. Like, you know, ask the characters, whatever.
Oh, so you have to ask the characters the questions then? Not necessarily like the actors, like the characters?
Yeah, not the actors, but like just these teenagers or whatever dressed up as their favorite character and just, you know, answer questions given to them.
Okay, that makes sense.
And of course, since it was my first convention, I always thought like it's a priority to be in cosplay. So I made up my own first cosplay of help from my friends as well. I cosplayed as Sora, but I didn't have the outfit, so I only had the organization coat. So I had the wig, I had the color contact lenses, the coat. I used my regular dress pants and shoes.
Right.
And I just went there.
As
And then
Sora?
when I went to this, it's Sora. It's Sora.
As Sora?
In
In a way, right?
In a way. So I went to this panel, and there was like a fair amount of people, not a lot, but I just sit there in the benches, and then of course everybody was like wild. I mean, of course, as teenagers are wild most of the time at that time. They were asking a lot of weird questions, and then they go wild, and then I came out with a bunch of snarky comments, or what they call it, sassy comments.
Right, as given to your name.
Yeah. So after I gave out a few comments, this girl that was on the stage, she was dressed up as Demix, and she started locking eyes with me, and then she's like, "Oh, sit right here." She was like banging on the table and stuff, like, "Sit right here." I'm like, okay. So I got shocked. I got a little bit nervous. I got up on the stage, sitting next to her. And then, of course, a bunch of people started asking me questions about my shoes, my hair, whatever.
Like about your cosplay itself?
Practically. And then this girl that came up to me, she asked me, like, "Sora, why are you so sassy?" And then I don't know why I did it, but I just thought of banging on the table, and I was like, "Because of Donald Duck. That's why." And then after that, I'm like, the whole entire panel, we went on for an hour, and then after that, people started pointing me out as like, "Hey, it's that SassySora." And that's how I came up with the name SassySora at the time.
That's actually one of my questions, was how you came up with the name, but I guess you kind of answered that question. Yeah.
But yeah. That's how I became SassySora, and then like later in my voice acting years, I believe it was 2015 or 2016, I started voicing for fandubs for Kingdom Hearts, and I mean, people loved it. So I kind of continued on as SassySoraness.
That makes total sense. I can definitely see you as like as a Sora dub. That definitely checks out. So yeah, as I said, you kind of already answered that user question. So then, as I said before, you also have a Twitch channel. A Twitch, what's the name?
Well, yeah, I do have a
channel.
Twitch. Yeah.
How often are you on that? Or how often do you see yourself on streaming on Twitch?
Well, I mean, I'm not looking forward to get popular or anything, but I just like doing it because I like to show my experience of when I play video games. So pretty much whenever I do play video games, I am always streaming on Twitch.
Mostly on that?
Yeah.
Under the same name, I assume, right?
Of course.
Just so people at home can go and watch that. So then, would you say that you enjoy being on Twitch then? You enjoy streaming and doing all that kind of stuff?
Of course. Almost as much as I love making content on whatever platform.
That's actually leads into my other question, because I mostly see, like, you know, your kind of content being made on like TikTok and on TikTok and Twitch and stuff like that. Do you have any other sort of platforms you see yourself on or anything like that?
Let's see. I do have an Instagram and a Twitter, but I'm not very active on those. I do have a lot of other social platforms, but again, not very active on those. I'm mostly active on Discord, TikTok, and Twitch.
The kind of main ones, yeah.
Pretty much.
Stay away from Twitter, especially Twitter. I can only imagine the Kingdom Hearts fan base on Twitter. Like,
whoa, buddy.
Is that going into a different territory?
I mean, it's divided. I'll tell you that.
It's divided.
It's divided. I'll just say this because this is my perspective and how I see it is like the Kingdom Hearts community in Twitter is very, very divided. Well, I didn't mean to say very too many times, but
you're probably right. You're probably right. So I'm kind of, again, to be brutally honest, I'm more of like, I do enjoy Kingdom Hearts, but I'm more of like a casual than I am like a hardcore. But so like when you say divided, what do you mean by like they're divided? If again you don't mind me asking.
Well, you're gonna have the NSFW side of the community. That's for sure, and that's for most communities out there.
Because
Um,
yeah,
there's gonna be one community one side of the community that hates most of the other titles except for one, or probably vice versa. And there's the side of it that just accepts everything, and like, hey, I know you don't like Kingdom Hearts 3, but I love Kingdom Hearts 3 for what it is. That kind of an aspect.
right. It's just kind of more like I enjoy my game, and that's how it needs to be, and that's how I need to do
Exactly.
it, and kind of stuff like that.
And of course, there's the community ones. There's the side of the community that's most likely to the. They're more connected to the content creators than the games itself.
Right.
I see a lot of that, especially when it comes to like even the biggest content creators out there. When it comes to the Kingdom Hearts community, they're more loyal to those content creators than the game, as I see. But I might be wrong.
So you say
But
that they're more like favored towards the content creators than they are like the actual games.
that's how I see it. Yeah.
I can see that. I know there was like one point when a YouTuber by the name of Maximilian dude, when Sora got released in Smash, he did like a thing where he did the Sephiroth battles or whatever, but he used some kind of save states, so that way he was already like there at that point. And like Twitter, just the Kingdom, I don't know whether it was the Kingdom Hearts Twitter or the Smash Twitter or whatever it was, but they like imploded on him because he like used save states and stuff like that to get to the point rather than like playing the game and that kind of stuff.
Ah, wait. So when you say like that, does it mean like he's like using mods by
No,
any chance?
no. He's not using mods. Basically, what he's doing is he's downloading like a certain like save file. I guess that's what it's known as, like a save state. Where again, he's at the point where you fight Sephiroth for the first time. I think it was in Kingdom Hearts 1, but it's basically to a point where he doesn't have to like necessarily play the game, where he's kind of just already at the Sephiroth fight, because the entire point was to fight Sephiroth in Kingdom Hearts. But Twitter like got all mad at him because he used save states to get to the point rather than just playing the game.
Huh. I'm not sure I entirely understand all that.
I like I said, it's Twitter. One of my friends have told me like Twitter will remain an active war zone, and that's kind of where I see it as. Like no
I
one
mean,
is safe from Twitter.
that's like a lot of platforms, not just Twitter. I mean, heck, even 4chan and Reddit is a war zone.
You know what? That's also fair. I didn't even take that into consideration. I mean, like I guess kind of like what you said. In a way, every platform has that like dark side. I wouldn't necessarily call it dark side, but like
Like toxicity.
yeah. It's just I guess where the platform I mainly see the toxicity on is Twitter. But again,
Yeah.
that's just me.
I mean, a lot of people see it that way. I see it as pretty much as whatchamacallit, chaotic neutral.
Chaotic neutral.
Sorry for using a Dungeons and Dragons reference, but
Oh, that's
that's
probably
how
why I
I
don't
see
know
it.
it then. That's probably why I don't know it then. I'm like, what is that?
Like it's pretty much, well, I mean, it just means like you're well, it's pretty much, well, you already know what neutral means,
Right,
but in a
yeah.
chaotic way that means like well, it's kooky, it's goofy, it's, you got the goofs, the kooks, the chucks, and the bluffs and all that stuff. It's hard to explain, but it's kind of like that scenario.
I think I get it. I think I get it. In a way. I'm probably not going
In
to
a
be
way.
in a way. I'm probably not going to be using that term, but if anyone says that around my
Like, what does that mean?
right, and I'll be like, "Oh, I know what that is now." So,
Like, you can still be wild, but you're still a good guy in a way, but you can do really asshole stuff at the same time.
right. So then
Like, you can be a good guy, but you're still an asshole. That's what it means.
that makes sense. Now that makes sense. Now that clicks in my head. I don't know why using the term asshole is what got me to understand it, but that's just I don't know. You said it and it clicked in my head. It's like that.
At least
It's like
Now
that
you know
key
what
in
it
the
means.
hole, you know? It's the key in the hole
Pretty
that
much.
clicked. That's one of those references right there. I just wanted to ask you, because I know you enjoy the Kingdom Hearts games, but are there any other sort of like games you see yourself playing, or any sort of genre you enjoy playing as well?
Other than Kingdom Hearts, I'm assuming.
Yeah, other than Kingdom Hearts.
Well, okay. Well, I hope the community doesn't get mad at me for saying this, because Kingdom Hearts, it's not my all-time favorite genre.
Really?
Or yes, and I'm sorry for saying that, but it's not my number one favorite. My number one favorite happens to be Threads of Fate, which happens to be another Square Enix game. By the time it was SquareSoft,
Right.
it was for the PlayStation 1. And I think it's what really actually started my fire into, well, I know for sure it got me started into RPG games, but I think that's what got me intrigued into Kingdom Hearts also in the first place, other than it just being Disney.
Right. So then, was you just kind of like a thing where you saw it as like the same sort of gameplay, or you saw it was made by the same like company, or?
Pretty much all the above, actually.
Oh, so it was just, this game's also made by Square Soft at the time. Oh, and it's also like an RPG. I gotta play it.
It's also hack and slash, so that's another plus.
Hack and slash.
Hack and slash, so you just mash the button and something happens.
Oh, yeah. That's Kingdom Hearts. That's definitely Kingdom Hearts.
That's Kingdom. If you like Kingdom Hearts, you're definitely gonna love this game.
That's kind of seems to be the marketing whenever it's like Square Enix. 'Cause I mean, besides like your turn-based type games, it kind of seems to be what Square Enix's game genre is like. Again, besides like your RPGs, like your Dragon Quest and your Final Fantasy and whatnot.
Of course.
Well, even then, like the newer Final Fantasies, even rather I haven't played them yet, but from what I've seen on gameplay wise, it kind of seems to be like the aspect. Like I think if I remember correctly, the Final Fantasy VII remake almost kind of had the same. From what I saw other people play, it almost kind of had the same like feel as Kingdom Hearts. Like I sort of feel like Square Enix kind of gets like a good majority of like their inspiration from Kingdom Hearts, if that makes sense.
Right. Well, since it's by the same, well, I want to say the same developer, since it's under the name of Tetsuya Morrow.
Right.
I think he directed the remake, and of course he said he didn't want it to be turn-based like the original was. He wanted it to be, well, of course, hack and slash.
Open world,
like, yeah, more open world as well, kind of like Kingdom Hearts. That's the idea how he wanted it. So that's pretty much the reason why it looks like that and plays like that.
Because it is kind of like, not that the inspiration was from Kingdom Hearts, but that's just what the developer wanted.
Exactly.
Pretty
much he was saying, no, we are done with turn-based.
I mean, in a way, that could kind of be for the better. I'm actually playing the I'm playing the original Final Fantasy VII right now, and that's probably my main problem, is that I really do enjoy the game. I really do. I enjoy, like, I've got merch from it, but the turn-based is like, it gets so annoying, especially when it's like, when it happens so frequently. Like, I feel like I can't take 2 steps without encountering an enemy. Meanwhile, in like a game like Kingdom Hearts, if you really wanted to, you could just run away from the enemy and just not even worry about it.
Run away.
Exactly.
I see what you mean.
You know what? That's all the questions I had written down. I'm sure I probably... Yeah, I didn't have a lot. I didn't
mean to answer all your questions that quickly.
No, that's fine. That's fine. This has definitely given me a lot of content to spurl out. My problem was that I didn't... When I asked you, I didn't write down... I didn't have the questions written down beforehand. So I was like, oh my god, I've got 2 days to think of questions.
That's all good. Also, you could have, like, if you wanted to, you could use, like, a bunch of questions that are probably put down in your comments or Q&As from your TikTok, for example.
Oh, I could have.
You would have asked people, like, hey, what would you want to ask this person if I had a podcast with them or her?
I should have done that. I really should have done that. I'm gonna have to do that next time I do one of these, because that was probably that's a really smart question.
I mean, I'm just suggesting my minor ideas.
No. They're valid. They're 100% valid. They're fair. Like I said, I might have to steal those notes from you. You know, kind of peer over their desk, like, hey, what you got there? You know.
Hey, just remember, I thought of it first.
Okay. So.
I kid.
Obviously, so before I kind of sign out, I do want to hear, and just from a fan perspective, I do want to hear at least one line of Sora, just out of curiosity, morbid curiosity.
That's fine. Curiosity killed the cat. I mean, never mind. Sure. I'll say a line.
Whatever comes to your mind.
I've realized I don't need the Keyblade. I've got a better weapon. My heart. It may be weak, but it's not alone. It's grown with each new experience, with all the friends that I've made.
Something like that. I can't remember the rest of the line.
You can't hear it, but I'm applauding right now. That was.
Oh wow.
that was great.
My friends are my power.
You do a great job. And I'm not even just saying that to, like, I genuinely mean that. You do a great job. You keep doing what you're doing.
Thanks, my guy. Appreciate it.
So then, yeah, that kind of sums up this. Do you have any last minute comments or anything you want to say to the audience or me or anyone?
Sure. To everyone else who's watching this, may your heart be your guiding key.
Alright, cool. Then I will sign off. If you guys enjoyed the video, please leave a like, comment, maybe subscribe while you're at it. I will obviously put all of SassySora's platforms in the description below. Please go check him out. He is a great content creator who deserves all this. And I will see you guys later. Bye.
See ya!